I am sure sports. You know me there, from coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never seen a game, me not know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you are gonna love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crapper players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share, listen, comment.
Trick-Nick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices, add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick-Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
Hello. Good afternoon to everybody out there. My name is Pioneer, and this is I Am Sure Sports. And here we are today for another in our series around the NBA. Today I've got with me Chris Lynch.
Yeah, man, big up Pioneer.
Welcome to all Chris Lynch. And we also got in the house the man Kems. We might be joined later on by some others on the stream. Gentlemen, welcome forward. Good to have you again for another in our series around the NBA. Interesting things happening around the NBA. For those who know, it's the All-Star weekend. A little bit disappointed by some of the happenings on the All-Star weekend, especially last night. We'll start there, gentlemen. What are your views on what happened so far on the All-Star weekend? What do you say, Chris? Give me your views first.
Yeah, I think the dunk contest, let's start off with the dunk contest. I think it was a little disappointed. Basically, it's a regular. The creativity, I guess, as the years go by, that's how it's going to be. Because how creative can you get with just doing dunks all the time? Like, you're going to see a repeat of stuff that we have seen over the years. So, I am not shocked there. The more I watch the dunk contest, the less interesting it becomes. But the three-point contest was good. I enjoyed the three-point contest. I must say, I enjoy seeing Karl Anthony Towns just knocking it down, looking Steph Curry-ish from three-point range. So I enjoyed that, I must say.
Kems, are you see the weekend going so far, Kems?
I have a little different perspective from Chris Lynch, because for me, I think the dunk contest was fine. I think the guys were very creative, actually. I just think that, and a lot of persons who watch the dunk contest believe that these dunks are something easy to do. I think I will challenge them to try and go out there and even attempt just a regular dunk, and they'll see how difficult it is. Even Cole Anthony, when he came out with the Timberland shoes and the New York jersey, I think that is definitely a resemblance of what New York life is. So, I like that. The Obi Toppin did some dunks. I just think his dunk wasn't ferocious enough. Like, some of them were kind of a little bit fluxy. That's why it didn't really get the crowd riled up. But overall, I think obviously when you're trying these monster dunk, because everybody keeps saying, "Oh, the dunk contest, the dunk contest," so it's forcing these athletes now to one either withdraw from the dunk contest, or two, when they are in the dunk contest now, trying to do some out of the world thing, and then what they don't understand, the more that they are missing the dunks, the more bad the dunk
Less
contest.
point.
Yeah, you
it
understand what I
takes
say?
a little
Like the
bit
dunk
of it.
contest, just take it away when 2, 3, 4, 5. I know they're limited to 3 chances, but if you don't go up and make an attempt, it doesn't count as a chance. So you have one man, Jalen Green was 1 for 9 for field dunk. And Jalen Green was my pick for the dunk contest. I am with Chris though on this one. The 3-point contest was really good. I picked Luke Kennard to win. He had an exceptional first round, but then the second round, when a man go first and score 29, it puts a whole heap of pressure on him. Because I think if Luke Kennard had probably went first, he would have probably been in a different situation. But when the pressure is on you, and then you feel like a shoot. I'm a better 3-point shooter than this guy, but you just can't seem to catch up. But Carl Anthony Towns did come out one time and say he's the best big man 3-point shooter of all time. He
I
did
think
say
he
that
proved
again.
that last night.
And I think he did prove that last night. Sometimes, and I've always said this to you, see, with sports, you'll always get the opportunity to prove yourself. You can say what you want to say, but you'll always have the opportunity to prove yourself. The Rising Stars Challenge, it was a different way this year. I really liked it. The guys seemed really engaged. The Team Cavs, in Cleveland, better. I really like that. Giannis was terrible in that skills challenge.
Yeah.
And his team was terrible. And I think the DJ Khaled performance and the Lil Wayne and that, I really like that as well before the dunk contest. So that was a hype before the dunk contest, but in the dunk contest didn't really live up to the same hype. The celebrity game, it was alright. What they did before that? The Rising, the rookie versus sophomore thing. I never really.
I think that was a different format this year too. They kind of had some of the legends coaching the teams. I actually watched some of those games on Friday night and enjoyed them. I think it was whose team that came out on top. That was a team that had. I watched the semi-finals and I watched the finals. Was it Mullen? No, it wasn't Mullen. There was a team that one of those former Warriors legend coached that winning team. He went up against Isaiah Thomas's team in the final and came out on top. I enjoyed that game with the youngsters. There are a couple of G Leaguers playing in that. But for me, overall, the weekend has been, highs and lows. And let me start with the dunk contest. I think the standards over the year have been set so high. And especially, let's look at the most recent high-quality dunk contest. I think that was the one between Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon in 2016. I think that one set the bar so high because those two guys went over the moon with their dunks. Behind the back from the 3-point line, over the leg that was on a whole different level. And I think people still use that to judge. And people make reference to the Blake Griffin jumping over the car, and you can go back as far as the Dominique versus Michael Jordan years. You can go back to the Vince Carter years. So, but the standard of the dunk contest has been set at such a high bar that sometimes when these guys, as I say, when they can't go up to that level. I heard a suggestion from Paul Pierce, because I'm a person who at times I go online and watch some of these crazy YouTube dunkers. I heard a suggestion from Paul Pierce that maybe it's time for the NBA to open the dunk contest a little bit, incentivize it a little bit more, probably get one of these car companies, probably Ferrari or one of those Bentley, one of those high-end car companies, to sponsor the competition, put up something tangible like a car, open the competition to some of these YouTube dunkers. So it would be something like the YouTube dunkers versus the NBA stars. I'm sure that would generate a whole lot of interest from both outside and inside the NBA, especially if it was incentivized with something tangible for these guys to win. And it probably would bring more excitement and a greater level of creativity to the dunk contest. But outside of the dunk contest, I too enjoy the 3-point contest. I had my money on Trae Young. I think he was the best shooter of those who were gathered, but it was Carl Anthony Towns' night. 29 points. I like this new thing that they brought in. They're bringing the green ball as a 3-point ball. I think it adds a little more spice to the thing, you know. And for me, what I would like to see every year is the best dunkers in the league, and probably the best dunkers in the world in the dunk contest, and the best 3-point shooters. So I would love to have seen a Steph Curry again this year. You know, I want to see the best 3-point shooters versus the best 3-point shooters, and the best dunkers in the world versus the best dunkers in the world for the dunk show. So, but all in all, I'm looking forward to the All-Star game tonight. I think this is the first time we're discussing this. I think that LeBron got the better of the picks. Team LeBron looks like, you know, the team to beat in this. And I go with Team LeBron tonight. A team that includes Steph Curry, Chris Paul, Giannis, LeBron himself, the Joker. There's no way I cannot go with Team LeBron tonight. How you gentlemen see it going?
Yeah, LeBron did get a better picks, obviously, and plus Kevin Durant being out doesn't help. So, Kevin Durant's team. So, but yeah, like I say, it's a freestyle game, so anybody can win because it's a freestyle game. Nobody really put in their full effort into this game, but Team LeBron has the better players.
Kems?
I wouldn't say that nobody's putting in their best effort, because if you realize for the past 3-4 All-Star games, or 4 All-Star games, at the starting, you know, it's all gimmicks and so. Giannis is probably the only person I see play hard the whole All-Star game.
And Russell
Westbrook, yeah. Man. But normally in the last 3 minutes, because I think they have a new format since last year where you go up to a certain amount of points. You know, so normally, but within the last 2-3 minutes, you see guys actually start lock up, start playing defense, going for blocks, no more free alley-hoop, bounce pass, and all that kind of dandish and the stuff that they have going on. So, you know, I think it will be all in the same. One team will run out with the lead, the other team will come back, and then, you know, they try and put on, you know, a little spectacle for the fans in the last 2-3 minutes. Remember, for the last one, you know, remember AD was at the free throw line and all, miss a free throw, and, you know, a whole bunch of things.
There was some tension in that game.
Yes, man, definitely. So I think it will be fun, especially in Cleveland. You know, that's where, you know, LeBron is from, Akron. So he's going to try and obviously go with a win and, you know, all that good stuff.
And I agree with you, Kems. I think maybe in the last 3-4 years, I think that since they have changed the format and going with the captains instead of just the East-West format for East players play for the East and West. I think since they have changed it and it's picking, I've seen more intensity in the All-Star game. And it goes even further than just the last 3 minute games. I remember last year's game was kind of intense. At the end, they kind of boiled down to a 3-point show between Steph and Dame. But there were points within the game that when the game was on the line, so to speak, when, you know, there was intensity and really rivalry in the game. I mean, everybody kind of plays, you know, with the thought of not getting injured in the back of their minds. But in the last couple of years, I've seen some real intent in the game, and I've actually enjoyed some of these games in the last over the last couple of years. But looking forward to that game today. Team LeBron versus Team Durant, as Chris says, the fact that Durant is not playing. But they have some exciting young players on Team Durant. They have Ja Morant, people like Jason Tatum. They have Joel Embiid. Should be an interesting game later on today. But gentlemen, we're gonna go into some happenings in the league itself. And I know this wasn't a talking point that we had mentioned before, but this whole issue of Anthony Davis getting injured in their last game. How you gentlemen see that affecting AD himself, and how do you see it affecting the Lakers' fortune going forward for the season?
Go ahead, Chris Lynch.
Chris, go ahead.
I think it can help the Lakers. I think if Russell Westbrook is going to work out, this is the time. If it doesn't work now, they can forget about running it back. For the time that Anthony Davis is out, Russell Westbrook and LeBron James need to carry this team to the playoffs. They have to first be in the play and then make it to the playoffs. But I think Russell Westbrook as a 2 now, I think he's more confident now. I think you can sometimes lack confidence because you don't used to be playing as a 3 like what he was when AD and LeBron was there. So this is a next fresh. This is like a new scenario again for Westbrook. And I know we just keep hoping that it's going to work. Me personally really want it to work. And I just think that if it's going to work, now is the time. And I think this is a good stretch because AD obviously going to be out for some time. He's very fragile. I don't expect him to toughen nothing out and come back earlier than supposed to. So this is the time. If it's going to work, this is the time. And obviously, I think Rob Pelinka and the front office of the Lakers will be saying, well, this is a good time to do the experiment. If it doesn't work now, why is it going to work when AD come back? So now is the time when Russell Westbrook can take up this team, especially when LeBron James is out of the game, and put it on his back like he normally does when he's at some other team.
All right, once so welcome to Pagan 180. Welcome forward again, Pagan 180.
Yeah, man, big up Pagan
on the stream. Pagan 180 says, "Boy, the Lakers are done." How do you see that, Kem? So you see AD's injury affecting the fortunes of the Lakers and him personally, AD personally.
All right. So first and foremost, you have to look on, the schedule that we have to play while quote unquote AD is out. So they said that he'll be reevaluated in 4 weeks, but
4 weeks, yeah.
As Chris Lynch alluded to, AD is soft, so that's probably 6 to 8 weeks for him before he can even touch back a basketball. All right. So I'm looking here, and I'm just going to say the next 5 games. They have the Clippers, they have the Pelicans, they have the Mavericks, they have the Clippers again, they have the Warriors, that's 5, and then the 6 games against the Spurs. So out of that 6-game streak, I believe the Lakers can get 4-2 in those games. I think they'll lose to the Warriors again, and I think that they'll lose to either the Mavericks or one of those Clippers games, right? But if they go 4-2 within that 6-game stretch, I think they'll be feeling good about themselves. But let me tell you, I've said this before I even started this pioneer, before I was even invited. I was calling for AD to be traded a long time ago. I wanted to trade AD
even before injury.
Even before injury.
Wow.
When he was playing before his first injury this season, he was playing soft, very lethargic, not engaged, not like a number one who they say LeBron's supposed to pass over the torch to him. Doesn't seem that way. I wanted a straight up swap for Anthony Davis and Karl Anthony Towns. That was my pick. Because AD was shooting 17% from 3, and obviously we'll see what Karl Anthony Towns do in a big man league. So that was something that I really wanted. And then all the persons bash me, idiot, no sports, blah blah blah. Come forward right now, everybody is saying, hey, boy, the Lakers look like they need to trade AD because right now AD value is diminishing. As an injured player, and when you are on the court, you are not as dominant. That's one. And then, as I said, availability is the best ability. And he's not available. So I'm looking at that right now and I'm saying, LeBron is not 37. December is about to be 38 and about to win 20th season. How much more of the torch you want LeBron to carry on his shoulders? How much more you want LeBron to do? AD, you are supposed to be the one. And again, I guess last season, Magic Johnson called him out and so on. AD drop him trainer, get a brand new trainer, start the yoga, all of them kind of stuff there. But I'm saying, as a superstar talent, these things are supposed to be in place a long time ago. You come around a man like LeBron James who take care of his body so much. I don't like money is a problem for you. So I have to wonder if these players are AD himself is as invested in the basketball or is just invested in the treats that come with the basketball. So right now, I don't know what's going to happen with the Lakers. Again, the trade deadline has passed, so everybody is kind of quote-unquote comfortable because they know they're not going anywhere. And as Christine said, this is probably the time for Westbrook to step up. Westbrook, if you have noticed though, for the last couple of years for Westbrook, the second half of the season, which means after the All-Star break, he normally really and truly steps up. He did it for the Wizards last year and pushed them into that play-in/playoff tournament. And then obviously they lost to Philly. But then he stopped taking all those threes, stopped taking those little stupid jump shots, calmed down on his turnovers, go to the basket, high percentage shots. That's all we ask for from Westbrook and some effort on defense. So I think that the Lakers can continue. They'll make the play-in regardless because the next team is way off and they're not going to win every game. So I think they'll make the play-in, but it's hard to see LeBron.
Blazers are 2 games behind.
2.5 games behind.
Who?
2.5 games behind, actually, Chris Lynch.
Who's that?
Blazers. And Blazers are on a 4-game winning streak.
Blazers are in 10th.
No, no, man. Yeah, Blazers are in 10th.
Yes, but 10th is a playing spot as well.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so 10th is a playing spot as well. So that's why I said Lakers are going to make it. But it seems really tough that the last 2 seasons, LeBron has never lost in the first round. Bam, losing the first round. No, LeBron. Remember, LeBron was a vocal one, talking about, oh, this plane is so stupid. I don't want this. What kind of plane? And they're ruining basketball. But that is the way how we got in the playoffs last season. And if he wants to get in the playoff this season, this is probably the route he has to take again.
Probably the only route.
Yeah, probably the only route.
And you said a lot there, Kems. All right, I've been bashed for saying that AD was not that guy. He came up a little bit. He came up big in some games in the bubble, in that championship that they won, and I kind of took a step back from that position. All right, so I re-evaluate that position now. When I said that he's not that guy. You said it a while ago, Kems, and I agree with you 100%. He's not that person to lead a team.
Nope.
I don't think he's a good number one. He's a good Robin, can be a Batman in a team.
Absolutely.
He needs that senior. The man's talent and ability, except his availability, is not in question. As you said, the best ability is availability, and he's hardly available. Earned himself the nickname and moniker, Street Clothes. All right. But his natural ability in terms of just playing basketball is not in question.
Absolutely.
What is in question is his guts and his heart and his leadership ability, his ability to lead a team towards. We saw it at the Pelicans. He had those numbers. The Pelicans tried to surround him with some good pieces, but he never seemed to have the ability to get it done. People forget that there were people like Rondo, people like Drew Holiday,
Marcus
Cousins,
yes,
who went there to join him at the Pelicans, and he never was able. He made the playoff 2 years out of 7. Had his numbers. The way he always scores, and this is a point of discussion that I've had a lot with people. The way he always scores, he's gonna get those numbers. He plays around the rim. He's gonna get those tip-ins. He's gonna get those alley oops and those dunks. So he's gonna consistently average 30 points, shooting a high percentage, 50s or 60s. However, there's more to the game. He has more ability. His ability on defense. His ability. He's a decent enough ball handler. You think that in some games you're expecting him to step up to the plate and take the bull by the hand and lead his team beyond certain levels. He's, as Pagan 180 is saying, he isn't that dude. All right, so there are talks of trades right now. I've heard people talk about trading him for one Karl Anthony Towns, as I just mentioned, Kems, who for me, and we said it on a couple podcasts ago, for me is a better big man for me right now than Anthony Davis. There are also talks of people mentioning trading for somebody like Jason Tatum, who would be a good running mate for LeBron. Tatum trying to ascend, showing his ability, showing that he can.
That would be a great because I think Tatum needs LeBron James, to be honest.
The question though, would Boston make that trade? Or who could Lakers throw in?
No, Lakers wouldn't have to throw in anybody because remember, where salaries are concerned, Boston would probably have to throw in somebody else to make the trade work.
So you think that would be a straight up one-on-one trade?
Because of Anthony Davis injury history. And the desperation of the Lakers now, James know that Lakers are more desperate.
No, Christian, what I'm saying is that the NBA is a salary cap league, so the salary has to match. So AD is making significantly more money than Jason Tatum. So you can't just make the trade like that. So in order for the salaries match, Boston would have to add in other things in order to make the salary match. I'm not talking about ability or playing. I'm just talking about strictly salary. But remember, Pioneer, Boston wanted AD,
yes,
from the Pelicans.
From New Orleans, yeah. They were in the running.
Yeah, they wanted him. So.
And at that time, they would have been willing to trade. I think they were offering Jalen Brown and Tatum. For Anthony Davis at that time.
No, not Tatum. They were keeping Tatum out of it.
So it was Jalen Brown and West.
Yeah. It was Jalen Brown and other people, but they were keeping Tatum
Terry
out of it.
I think Terry Rozier was a part of that trade.
Yeah, Terry Rozier.
Yeah.
And them boy, but they were keeping Tatum.
As you said, rightfully, Kems, and Eddie's stocks are falling at this time. The verdict is still out as to when he'll come back this year, what he'll be able to do when he comes back. But to the Lakers now, and I heard you guys talking about Westbrook. I watched the last game, the comeback that they made, that same game that AD went down. The link-up play between Westbrook and LeBron was great in that game. But where the Lakers are going to falter again, gentlemen, is defensively.
Defense.
All right. The roster that Kems, the games that Kems just mentioned for the next 6 games, these are the younger, more vibrant and active teams. Lakers have shown that they have a weakness in keeping up with these young teams that are going to be running and gunning at them. So this is where I think they're going to fall in trouble. They are sitting in 9th now. The Portland Trail Blazers are in 10th, 2.5 games out. But the Pelicans, the Kings, and the Spurs might be harboring thoughts of a playing position. I think as it stands right now, the Spurs are in 11th, and they are, 3.5, 4.5 games off the Lakers. You know, fortunes could change. If the Lakers go on a 3-4 game losing streak, as they might, based on the schedule that they have, they could find themselves battling to stay in that playing position. So a lot is gonna be up left up on the shoulders of LeBron James. I see Pagan 180 here saying that LeBron lacks leadership this season. I have said that on a previous podcast, and I've said that elsewhere.
That's absolute crazy talk. Pagan
I've been chided for that. I judge body language a lot. And
all right.
I see. Give me a second. I see LeBron. He's getting the numbers. Nobody can question his offensive play this year. He has been shooting well from distance. He has been driving to the basket. He has been on the offensive end of the court. He has shown that he still has that. However, we don't expect him to give that same 100% effort and defense.
Absolutely.
However, I've seen him have defensive lapses in games that I'm saying that is almost beneath someone with LeBron James, with the kind of basketball IQ he has. And outside of that, I've questioned his body language that he gives off to the rest of his teammates. I can remember times when he was at the Cleveland Cavaliers, when you could see him being that leader in the huddle, talking to the team.
But that's where it gets unfair, Pioneer. When you compare back him earlier years, hold
on, Chris Lynch, man. If you're a leader, your body language in a huddle needs to kind of inspire a sense. All right, I can remember in series versus the Golden State Warriors when they were obviously far outmatched and outgunned. And then you could see just by his body language, you could see people like J.R. Smith and Tristan Thompson trying to feed off that energy. When you watch him with the Lakers right now, when there's a timeout or when they go to a huddle, you don't get that same kind of energy, and that is exactly what I'm talking about.
Pioneer.
Pioneer, you're
might
wicked.
think I'm being unfair.
Pioneer, you're being grossly unfair.
No, hold on, Kems, hear me say to you, man. Listen, I have watched him carefully, and I've said
you don't watch LeBron as carefully as I have. I am telling you, you do like Pioneer.
I have come to expect a little bit more from LeBron than the leadership that I'm seeing him displayed this year.
Absolutely.
See, I'm expecting him to. I know that his team is a little bit short-handed now. The guys that are there, are a little less than they had last year in terms, especially on defense. But as a leader, I think you should exude that would inspire your troops to give of them best, or to give a little bit more than their best in an effort, because you're in a precarious position right now. So what you want from your troops right now
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Brian. Out of an 82 game season, right? Out of an 82 game season, how often do you expect to see such great leadership out of an 82 game season from any leader? Not only LeBron, but from any leader. Like, you have to understand and that's a rhetorical question, so I don't really want to answer. Right? So you have to understand the ebbs and flow of an NBA season. I have seen and people say Chris Paul is a great leader. I've seen the same quote unquote body language with Chris Paul. What I've seen exemplary leadership from LeBron this season when he's the young guy named Austin
Reeves.
Malik Monk. Those young guys, I see him take them upon him, hey, and I show them and leading by example. But there becomes time, Pioneer, and these are probably the games that you watch. But there becomes time when there's a human factor to it. And I think you guys try to make LeBron like some superhero, some superhuman, like said the man don't have his own raw emotions. Like it's not okay to show body language. I think it's perfectly fine. But if I'm supposed to analyze LeBron all this season, I think he has shown leadership more than he hasn't. But there have been times, obviously, there's been talks about frustration with the front office. You've seen him throwing shades at Rob Pelinka in many ways. I see him big up Sam Presti from the Oklahoma City Thunder yesterday. I see him big up the GM from the LA Rams, while throwing shades at Rob Pelinka. So again, I believe there's a human aspect to it. And again, I think not we, but the LeBron haters, Pioneer and Pagan 180, try and put LeBron on a little microscope where if LeBron poop too loud, hey, LeBron, what you doing? So I think we need to calm down a little.
All right, Kems. Well, listen. All right, listen. To whom that's saying that to whom much is given, much is expected. Now, people like yourself, Kems, and others wants to elevate LeBron to that into that good conversation.
Don't talk about Michael Jordan and leadership, please, because don't talk about Michael Jordan.
We're not going to start that today. Kems, we'll leave that for a different podcast.
Okay.
Because if we start on that, that is another 2 hours from now. So, but I'm saying, but for me, in sport, a leader's body language, and this is the same thing. This is the same thing that we just in 5 minutes ago we were talking about with Anthony Davis, and this is what you distinguish the Batman from the rabbits. So I say, so a Batman is a man who will take the lead and things. A Robin is a man who just come along for the ride. So I'm saying to you now, my brethren, the body language of the leader says everything to his troops. As a leader, you can get a man to run through a brick wall for you if you exude the right body language. You can get a man to play above his normal self by the kind of energy
but he has done that. He has done that even with the Lakers this season.
I haven't seen it. Austin
Reeves.
Austin Reeves is one example. He's a tough
Pioneer,
rookie.
Pioneer. Let us be
playing
Pioneer. And again, let us be fair. When they have been interviewed, all these persons, they have lauded LeBron James have helped me so much. LeBron James have been talking to me. This. His leadership has had this imprint on me. But don't take them things into consideration. When you just want to see one body language and hey, LeBron is a Pagan 180. I want you to come on the show. I don't want you to just talk in the comment section. Come on the show.
Yeah, just to answer to Pagan earlier comment that Pioneer used to drive that truck that said LeBron was padding stats. That truck long been crushed, and I don't know where that truck is. That truck cannot be found. That truck cannot be found. That truck
just pulled up in the parking lot this season, Christian. Not before, no.
No, this season's Pioneer
I don't feel like I was saying that about LeBron in previous seasons. So,
but I think the same thing Pagan is saying. This season, LeBron is padding stats, and I'm telling Pagan that truck crashed and Pioneer can't find it. Because, go ahead.
For the next podcast, Pagan 180, we're gonna invite you to come on live so you can, we can have a 2.2 thing.
No, listen, Pioneer, listen to this comment.
Yeah.
Listen to this comment. LeBron doesn't have the impact on the game
he once had. He's just start padding.
Come on.
The last game came, if LeBron James didn't activate, that game is blown away. Like, come on. How do you say a man padding stats if he never did have to do against that last game?
In the last game, and I'm saying, because I always try to be fair and balanced when it comes to LeBron. So I've been accused of being a LeBron hater. I've been accused of, but in the last game, he was excellent in that comeback. All right, I think that especially considering you're playing a good team like the Jazz. All right, and he led from the front. He led on both ends of the court, and he was excellent in the comeback in the last game. That all right, and as I say, I can't expect a man to have at 37 in his 19th season to have that same kind of effort every night on the court. In terms of physical play, what I will judge though, Kems, is on that night that you don't have it physically. I want, as a leader, your body language must say to your younger troops, come along, guys. Come take me out, bring me here through this. When I am unable to do it physically, I am exuding that kind of energy that will bring along the Austin Reeves and the Malik Monks and those and even the older charges like the
Ariza.
The Trevor Ariza and those guys. So all right, the season the season is getting shorter for the Lakers. I think they have 28 games left. They're about less than that 24 games. They have 24 games left on the season. They have 58 games they've played so far. So the season, it's a short season that is left. They will need the tougher part of their schedule is left to come. They have played the easier part of their schedule so far, so they're gonna have the tougher part of their schedule. And them making the play-in is not a given, gentlemen. They'll have to play it through this AD injury. With AD being missing, it now opens up this Achilles heel that they have had on defense, and this is where they could come up smart.
Dwight Howard will step up.
All right, let's see how that goes. Now, gentlemen, we'll move away from the LeBron and AD and Westbrook and Lakers talk. We're gonna look at a couple of teams, one in the West, and one in the East and one in the West, and we're gonna look at these teams and how good they are and what we think they could do in the playoffs come playoff time. All right, so we are gonna look at the Boston Celtics team in the East. How good is Boston? What do we think they can do? What do we think they need to do in terms of, because Boston have been doing this thing for a little while. They have been flattering to deceive, some would say. They have been showing promise and not living up to that promise. They have had Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. For a while, they were not looking very good at the beginning of the season. I think at one point they were 13th in the standing. They have now worked their way up to 6th. They are one of the hottest teams in the NBA right now. They have won 9 of their last 10 games and looking like a dangerous team coming playoff time. How do you gentlemen see them? What realistically, what do we think Boston can do this season in the East? Could they knock off one of the more fancy team? I have what I call a big 4 teams in the East. We are talking about the Miami Heat. We're talking about the 76ers. We're talking about the Nets. And we're talking about the Bucks. Could Boston upset any of those teams? How far do we see Boston going this year in the Eastern?
Boston could beat the Nets, of course. It could beat the Nets because the Nets is not in the top 4. The Nets are 8 right now, so they'll be in the play-in tournament. So I believe if they run up in, there's not a route where they could run up in Boston. But in all honesty and no joke aside, again, it all depends on the matchup. I think Philly is a bad matchup for them. I think Milwaukee is a bad matchup, and I think the Miami Heat is a bad matchup. The only way I see Boston winning a playoff series is if they play probably the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's their only hope to win a playoff series. Those other teams...
What about the Bulls?
Nah, I don't think they can beat the Bulls. Because this is it, right? Boston has two players that I would say, and they traded for Derek White, and I think that was an absolute great trade for them, right? But they have 2 players that are marquee players, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. But these players are also hot and cold players, especially in the playoffs. It's like your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn, right? When you're playing against a team like a Chicago Bulls, if Chicago Bulls is fully healthy, it's going to be a problem. Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Vucevic, Alex Caruso, Lonzo Ball, that's a whole lot for Boston to deal with. That's a whole lot of weapons. And I'm not only talking about offensively, I'm talking about defensively. In the playoffs, we all know the game slows down. Ain't no bugger running up and down unless you were the prime Golden State Warriors, of course. But other than that, they no running up and down, running up and down, running up and down. So the game slows down. You have to go in half-court sets. You have to break down the team half-court defense. All right? And I'm not sure Boston can do that. I think Boston is a piece away from posing a real challenge. When Boston had things going for them, obviously they ran up in LeBron James, and we all know how that went, right? But I think they're a piece away. I don't think Al Horford is it. Marcus Smart, good energy guy, good on the defensive.
He has been out though for a while.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying there's the total of Boston team, right? And so I think they need another piece. Probably like it was LeBron, Kyrie, Kevin Love. They need to find their little Kevin Love. They need to find their little Chris Bosh, who could come in and give them probably 19, 20 a night, along with what Jalen and Tatum is doing. But right now, I think those teams that you mentioned, I think those teams are ahead of them in terms of ability, in terms of players, and in terms of superstar talent. So I have Boston winning one round if they face the Cleveland Cavaliers. Anybody else, it's a first round knockout for them.
How you see it going, Chris Lynch? You see
Boston was always a team that was optimistic that could do well in the NBA, but obviously it hasn't panned out. Now I've seen the real problem. The real problem is they're missing a leader. That's why I'm saying Tatum to the Lakers to play with LeBron would have been great. Because I think if you move Chris Paul from the Suns and put him at Boston, I think the Boston Celtics do what the Suns are doing basically. They are missing someone like that. Jason Tatum doesn't strike us as a leader, obviously. Nope. Still young, still developing. Jalen Brown, same thing. And that's what Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton got in Chris Paul. So I think they are missing that player. And I think they missed out on a wonderful DeMar DeRozan, especially when you see what he does this season. I think they missed out big time on that because I think they had the lucrative market to get someone like that. And they have to go. I think it's back to the drawing board for them. They're not going to make any noise in the East. I can't see them upsetting any of the favorites there. But it's a good team for a player that wants to win a championship and think that something can just give to go to Boston.
All right, gentlemen. I agree with you, Kems, and you said the Derek White acquisition from the Spurs was a good one. It gives them that third option. I've liked Derek White for a long time. Playing at the Spurs, I think his ability and his talent was hidden. So that's a nice addition to their squad. But what I think, and Chris Lynch, you made a great point, my brother, when you mentioned Chris Paul and the addition of someone like a Chris Paul. I think the link-up play between Jalen Brown, I think the chemistry, they have been playing for so long. However, I still don't think, even after playing for so long, they have established a chemistry. Absolutely. It's always your turn, my turn. It's always tonight is my night. Tomorrow is your night. I'll drop 30 tonight. You will have 15. The other night, Brown will drop 30. Tatum has 20.
Rather than the best basketball player, each player you got.
There's a missing linchpin to combine. Both players are talented.
But they're young as well,
Yeah, come again. I didn't hear that, Kems.
No, I'm saying they're young as well.
But young in the context. These are gentlemen who have been in the league more than 5 years now. So, youth, I mean, and they have been thereabout. They made a conference final. I think they were up 3-2 on the Cavs with LeBron James, trying to get to the NBA finals. Was it the conference final or something? But I remember them being up 3-2 against a LeBron James-led Cleveland team. In a season that they were looking like contenders. However, they failed to happen. And at that time, they had, for me, a better squad. They had people like Terry Rozier and they had Marcus Smart and they had, the squad was a better squad. This year, they have some players, Grant Williams as a big man. It's the Al Horford, I think I've seen better days. I agree with both of you gentlemen that I can't see them going beyond. I can't see them getting over the hump. I can't see them knocking off two of the. Well, I'll fancy them in a series. If they find form and get hot in a series, they could knock off one of the big four. but I can't see them knocking off two of those big four teams that we mentioned earlier. So for me, I think this is gonna be another season. I think this could be the season after this season where Boston says, listen,
Break up.
we need to break up this, similar to what we see happen in Portland with CJ and Dame. I think this could be the year we see a move being made. Would Anthony Davis be the answer for me? No, I don't think Eddie to Boston would
He's
make
not
a
a
difference.
leader either.
Not a leader either. But you mentioned for me, I make a plug. I think if I were to take, for example, Draymond Green, that kind of a player, and stick him in between these two, I think it would make a vast difference in terms of someone for bring that energy, bring that link up play,
leadership.
No, so let me tell you. So Draymond Green kind of remind me of a Marcus Smart for me.
No, but
limited. Let me tell you why. I said limited offensively, very limited offensively, but a great defensive player. All right. And yes, I can say his leadership, but one thing with Chris Paul, as Chris Lynch mentioned, he doesn't only lead with his mouth; he leads with his play, and he's out there and he's putting guys in the proper spots to be successful. You know, obviously, when Devin Booker came into the league, we know Devin Booker was a great scorer. We knew that, but now we see him a bit more. We see him being more efficient. We see him doing some stuff. We even see Devin Booker playing defense, and Devin Booker couldn't even stop me, right? DeAndre Ayton, before Chris Paul went there, obviously he was, I think he was the number one pick, right? Yeah, he was the number one pick. So when he went there, you know, he was doing his thing, but when Chris Paul went there, getting him those lobs, getting him involved in the game early, those little stuff Chris Paul do. I don't think Draymond Green, and I think Draymond Green kind of leadership is different from Chris Paul, and that's why him and KD getting, you know, KD a little bit sensitive. Draymond Green will step on your toes and tell you raw as it is. I think Chris Paul, he surveys the room and say, okay, I can shout at this guy, but I can't shout at this guy. So I deal with the youth a different time I deal with him. Draymond deal with everybody on a particular level, and I'm not sure it will always work.
I disagree with you, not Kems, because I've seen Draymond interacting with like the young pieces at that. Draymond has that leadership quality. I disagree with you when you say he's like Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart brings energy, but Draymond Green brings an overall lead. You can see Draymond, and it's the same thing we talk about with AD and we talk about with LeBron. You see Draymond Green every time there's a timeout in the huddle. He gives Steve Kerr a chance to say what he has to say, and then he takes over, and you will see him barking instruction in some cases and advising in other sections.
We didn't see the season when Stephen Clay was out though.
No, man, that all right. You don't go there. Draymond Green played 12 games of a shortened season that year. He played only 12 games.
What do you mean?
12 games, and he had but we're not going to say we're not even going there because that is something where people try to bring in. I'm just
the talent of Jaylen Brown and Tatum wasn't there that season.
You never have them kind of talent. But what I'm saying, you need somebody who has a basketball IQ, who understands the game on a similar level to a Chris Paul, who can guide and direct these guys to making the right plays. Pagan 18 is saying, can you bank on Tatum and Brown being the next MJ and Pippen? Answer that and then move on. And no Pagan 180. There are no MJ and there are no Pippen. So we all agree that we don't say Boston going, as I say, I give them a shot to beat one of the big four. That takes them to the conference semifinal, but I don't see them going beyond that. Could they surprise us? Let's see what happens. The next team we want to look at, gentlemen, is the Dallas Mavericks in the West. How good is Dallas? What do we think Dallas can do this year? How far do we think Luka can take his team? Could this be the year for Dallas and Luka Doncic this year? Chris Paul, Chris Lynch, I'm going to start with you. How do you see Dallas faring out in the West this year? What do you see them doing? Could you see them knocking off a Golden State or Suns? Could you see them, what do you see them doing in the playoffs?
Yeah, obviously it's a dangerous team in the playoffs because of Luka. But just to get back to Boston, you see that Dallas went ahead and break up their partnership with Porzingis and Luka. I think obviously Dallas come to the realization that this is just not good chemistry between these two players. So let's move on. And obviously, I think Boston need to head that direction anytime soon. But to Dallas is that they do have the capability of doing it. If I am Golden State or the Suns, I am afraid of Dallas and the Grizzlies. These two teams look like they have something to prove. I know Luka has something to prove, obviously, because he's a big player. But if I was the Suns and Golden State, these two teams I would be worried about mostly, not the Jazz. Not these two teams is the two teams that I am looking forward to see. Probably go above what people have in their thoughts of them, Dallas and the Grizzlies. So I think they can knock off anybody in the West.
How you see it going, Kems? Dallas Mavericks, what do you see them doing in the playoffs? How far do you see them going? Could they?
Certainly, I believe they'll make the playoffs. We must remember that the last 2 seasons that they were in the playoffs, they ran up against the Clippers, right? And it was virtually Luka by himself. And eventually, over 6-7 games series, you're going to get tired. You're going to need some form of help, and he just didn't have the help. I think one of the seasons, one of the playoff series, Kristaps got hurt. And I think that was a series where I think they could have won. Should Kristaps have stayed healthy. I'm with Chris Lynch. There was a lot of jealousy. There was a lot of envy in Kristaps. He wanted some of the players. I mean, if you are not the best player, I think you just wait your turn. But I think Kristaps thinks that he is still on the level that he was drafted when he was in New York and all this kind of stuff. And Jason Kidd really said something profound the other day when he was asked about the trade. And he was saying that the team that they won when they beat Miami in 2011, he said there were one superstar, and just some other players playing their role at a high level. And he's saying that's the same thing that he wants with this Dallas team. So Luka is the superstar, right? So so okay, anything goes to Luka, but everybody else, they do their role and they do it at a high level. That guy, Jalen Brunson,
yeah, man.
Really, 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 really like that player. And I've watched that player improve every single year since he's been in the NBA. And I think he reminds me of JJ Barea. You're supposed to know him.
Yeah, man,
JJ Barea when he was there. That guy just works, hit timely shots. On the defensive end, he's very active as well. So when I'm looking, they're in 5th right now. So their matchup will be against Utah. I think they could beat Utah easily. I think they could beat Utah 4-2 in a series. And then they'll go up against, obviously, the number 1 seed, which would be the Phoenix Suns. I don't think that they could beat Phoenix right now. But I think they would love to play like a Golden State. I think they can beat Golden State in a 7-game series. So, again, in the playoffs, it's all about matchups. And it's all about who can be healthy. Who's the more healthy team. But I like where Dallas is right now. And, Luka is playing. Because Luka got 0 starter votes for All-Star. Got absolutely 0. Since that time, the man has been on an absolute tears. Like him say, okay, I take this personally. So Dallas is a good team, but, they have to run from Phoenix Suns at all costs until the conference finals.
All right, I agree. Dallas, I like Brunson, Jalen Brunson. Finney Smith is playing some good basketball.
Yep.
I'm going to agree with most of what you said, Kems. I give them a better shot against Golden State. I don't know. There are 2 teams that have a little. I won't say they have Golden State's ticket, but they have an edge in a series against Golden State. And those 2 teams are the Dallas Mavericks and the Grizzlies. Not that they have an edge on the Warriors, but comparing how they would match up versus a Golden State versus a Phoenix, I think they would do better, even though I don't see them beating Golden State in a 7-game series. Probably I'd give them 2 games.
You would be surprised if they knock them out.
Yeah, there's something about Golden State. Whenever Luka plays against Golden State, he generally rises above. And Luka is probably the one player in the league that I don't fancy Draymond Green guarding at a high level. Even though I think this year now, Golden State would have more pieces like a Wiggins to show at him and Peyton Jr. But because of his size as a guard, and what I love about Luka, he plays the game at his pace. Yep. You can't speed him up, And if he chooses to speed up, you can't slow him down. So he plays a game at a certain pace. He dictates pace, which is why he does so well. But he's the one player that I've seen in the league where I wouldn't say stick Draymond Green on that player and him can take him out of the game. I've seen him against Draymond and he has always done well and dominated Draymond. So in a series versus Golden State, whilst I'd pick Golden State to win and probably put my money on Golden State, it wouldn't surprise me a whole lot if they were to knock off Golden State Warriors in a playoff series. Anybody else except Golden State and the Suns, I fancy Dallas to take out. They are going to be a dangerous team. Luka has been doing this thing in the playoff for a while. I think he gets better at it this year. I think this playoff might be, well, every year he keeps rising above and above and above. I think this playoff might, health, if he maintains health, I think this could be the playoff series this season. That shows that this guy comes to the fore as probably the man in the NBA. He has been knocking at that door. He has been there, but each time we see him in the playoff, it's like he's gonna be that. What I like from him this year too that I'm seeing him playing defense on a whole different level this season. And I'm seeing him coordinating on defense with his team. Dallas has improved their defense vastly this season. That was their Achilles heel for the last 2 or 3 seasons. So they're gonna be a dangerous team in the playoff. If any of the top 2 slips up, I could see if they were to come up on the Clippers again this year, I could see them beating the Clippers easily. I could see them knocking off Denver. Also could see them knocking off. You know what would be an interesting series for me? Would be a series between Dallas and the Grizzlies. That probably would be a
2 dangerous teams. That's what I was saying.
I'd love to see that in the first round. So, Dallas for me is a dangerous team. I don't think Golden State would probably want to see them in a playoff series. I would probably think that if they came up on the Suns, that would probably go 6. I would fancy the Suns to beat them in a 7-game series. But they too, I think, are one big piece, or not even a big piece, one good fit away from being a major contender. If Luka were to get that running mate that complements him, I think that going forward, Dallas could be a dangerous team. Gentlemen, we're going to look at something to close out. The trade window has been closed. Teams have who they have. The only way for anybody to add to their team now is the buyout market. Who do we see in the buyout market that could change the fortune of any team going forward? Is there a player? Is that one player we could identify that would go to a team that might be that difference maker? Let's start with you, Kems. Is there anybody you see in the buyout market that you could slide into any of these contending teams that would probably put them, if not over the top, but improve them to that level where you think they could to be a better team in the playoff?
So to be honest, I really wanted for example for the Lakers, I wanted Tristan Thompson, right? Because I know that he would have been bought out by the Pacers, but then he signed with Chicago immediately. So he's now in Chicago. So I'm looking.
Good pick up for the Bulls, but I must say.
Great pickup for backup Vucevic over there.
Vucevic, yeah, man.
Great pickup. So right now I'm looking. I'm looking at. I see Goran Dragic out there. And I'm thinking, which team would he fit? Another ball handler.
Pagan 180. Agreeing with you, saying Dragic to the Clippers.
No, I don't think the Clippers have too much. Well, Dragic should have played. Them have Reggie Jackson. Them have way too much pieces.
Morris
players.
Huh?
They have too much bits and pieces.
Yeah, they have
Morris.
They have all of those.
Yeah, so
they're just missing their superstars. That's all.
That's all.
That's all.
You cannot.
Yeah. So I'm looking right now and I'm saying Dragic. Where could Dragic go that he could make? The only place I'm thinking he could probably go is Philly. That's what I'm thinking about because even Philly, I think Dragic, he's I would say 38% 3-point shooter. Nothing to write home about, but hey, he can put the ball on the floor. He can come in with the second unit. And
it would be a good fit to replace like a Seth Curry.
Seth
that
Curry.
kind of player.
Absolutely.
Probably could get some the kind of numbers you Seth
The
Curry.
thing about Dragic is Giannis is going, and the Bucks are so, I would say they have a killer instinct. They are going after Dragic.
Oh, the Bucks?
That is a killer. That is like showing no sympathy to the league. If you give Giannis an next shooter, you can almost guarantee if Giannis is going to play like Giannis and the pieces play, they can almost say there's no team that can beat them.
Welcome, Gunners, boss. Fine action, big up yourself. Welcome to the chat, my brethren. Where say no one player can lead a team to a championship. JJ Barea is a legend for doing it to Labyrinth. All right. Welcome, Gunners, boss. You know, we always welcome your comments. I see I posted something about ring chasing. We'll address that a little later on from now. Bless up yourself. I like that Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, Tristan Thompson
on his day. Tristan Thompson on his day.
Yeah.
But
and I heard that Dennis Schroeder, because he's in Houston right now. I think he had a big night the other night, 23-9-9, something like that. I heard that the Houston's going to buy him out. I heard that the Lakers are interested in bringing him. That
would be the right thing.
Bringing him back out of the buyout market. I think if the Lakers get back Schroeder, you know, I think they could do some stuff because, especially on the defensive end, that man was a menace. That man is just so annoying. Up into you, full court. He's from you get the ball, he's up onto you. So I think Schroeder would be a big addition. There's a name that's floating around that might get buyout. Robin Lopez. You know, I think he's a big body. I think the Lakers could use him. Get rid of DeAndre and get rid of DeAndre Jordan. I'm a seamer though. I want some people who can actually make an impact, grab some rebounds. Deter the people from coming inside the paint. People smile when DeAndre Jordan in the paint because they know it's easy buckets in there. So those are the names right now. I guess over time, we'll see some more names picking up.
I think the Golden State Warriors could do with someone like a Robin Lopez too, player who
of course they could.
Who protects the rim well.
Shoot the 3 point.
Can knock down the 3-point shot. I think you would fit as it stands right now. I think Golden State, still with the uncertainty surrounding Wiseman, have been advocating for this season. There's still a hole at the center position. When Draymond comes back, he will fill half of that hole. Still think they're lacking a quality rim protector. Robin Lopez, while I wouldn't say would put them over the top, would plug a gap, a very important gap for them. So Robin Lopez for the Warriors for me would inch them closer towards Phoenix. If you notice, Phoenix has plugged that big man hole, that void that they had last year. We have mentioned that a couple of times with JaVale McGee and Bismack Biyombo. I think they have made themselves into the most complete team in the NBA. A quality big man like Robin Lopez would do the Golden State Warriors a world of good right now.
Absolutely.
Outside of that, I can agree with you, Kems, that Dennis Schroeder back to the Lakers. I don't know how that would work, considering that they left. That breakup kind of had a little sourness about it last year.
It was all Dennis Schroeder's fault. He got the
money.
It
wasn't sour though, Pioneer.
Huh? Come again.
It wasn't sour.
Yeah,
it's
but
just that they offered Schroeder something and he think he valued more when he went to the market.
He kind of stepped away.
When he went to the market said no.
The market basically said to him, listen.
Plus, the mindset is different. We must remember when Schroeder was coming to the Lakers that he wanted a starting role. Now, he would have to settle for the backup role, which I think that would be very great coming off the bench and giving that energy and being a closing lineup.
He's coming off the bench right now, so.
Yes, yeah. Even in Houston, he's coming off the bench right now.
Yes, so when he came to the Lakers, he didn't want to be a bench player coming off the bench anymore.
Yeah.
He said that from the get-go in his first press conference. That was his argument. So basically, that kind of leave the Lakers basically after starting because he said that's what Pelinka told him when they were getting the trade done. That obviously he was going to start. But now the mindset is different. And the defense is good off shoulder. I think that the Lakers should find a way to get this one done if they really want to still go after this season.
All right, now welcome CC from Portmore, CC Sports Lab, to the chat. Good to have you, CC. I see you asking, you're saying to Gunners boss, tell that to Dirk, that one superstar, could make a difference. Dirk was that one star, but I think at the end of the day, what is most important for any team for me is chemistry and fits. The NBA is about
talented.
Well, I mean, if the talent is separated and scattered and not fitting, then as we mentioned earlier with the Boston Celtics, but when you have that cohesion and that fit, for me it works. It makes a world of difference. Just look at the Phoenix Suns this year. Individual player by player, you would not. If you look at the roster, you wouldn't say they have the most talented roster, but what they have is continuity in their squad. They have been playing together for a while, and the pieces fit, and the pieces that they have even brought in seem to fit and plug in perfectly. And that is why the Phoenix Suns are looking like the best team in basketball this year, and we'll see what happens in the playoff. Gentlemen, we are an hour and 6 minutes in. It was great. It was an interesting discussion. Glad that you could have joined us. I want to say big up to everybody in the chat. Big up CC Sports Lab. I want to say big up to Gunners Bar, Spine Action. I want to say big up to
Pagan 180
and everybody else who are in the chat. Big up to all the viewers. We'll be here again at about Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll review what would have taken place in the All-Star game, and we'll look at some more of the happenings around the league. We'll look at the rest of the schedule going forward, and we'll look at how the playoff picture, will be shaping up going towards the playoffs. We'll look at who we think is going to be there, who is going to miss out. We'll look at the playing positions and how we think that those might change. Again, it was good having everybody here. Give thanks to Chris Lynch. Give thanks to Kems. I give you both gentlemen a 1 minute a last say as to how your sitting is going forward. Let's big up. We have Paula Hines in the chat. Big up Paula Hines. Paula Hines is asking, Russ needs to get traded now. Wow. All right. Tell that to Kems that the chat window is closed, Paula. We won't have any trades for us this season. We might have to look at the off season. CC Sports Lab is saying Golden State versus Suns in the finals. CC, that seemed to be the consensus of most basketball experts. I too have that view. Pagan 180 is saying, will Kawhi play this season? Your guess is as good as mine, Pagan 180. We haven't heard anything. That is one injury report that we have not seen for a while now. We are not even seeing an injury report on Paul George. The question now is, will Paul George or Kawhi be playing again for the season? As I say, your guess is as good as mine. We'll probably look at those. We'll probably do a little investigation in between now and our next podcast. And hopefully we have a little bit more to report on those issues. All right, Kems, I'll give you a last word as to what you're looking forward to for the rest of this weekend and going forward for the rest of the season.
Well, into this weekend, All-Star, you talk about All-Star? Because remember the league up on a break until
Yeah, man, I know. I'm talking about the All-Star. The All-Star game.
Yeah, so, obviously I'm expecting Team LeBron to get the victory. That will be 5 in a row for him. Sometimes, when we can't win in the real situation, like in the All-Star game, we just have to get a win any means necessary. But I'm really excited to see, obviously, Joel Embiid and James Harden together. I know we didn't talk about it, but I saw Joel Embiid give Milwaukee Bucks the absolute work. And also, seeing James Harden and Joel Embiid together. And I see, really quickly, Tracy McGrady come out and trying to throw shade on James Harden. Let me tell you something, Tracy McGrady. You will never be as good as James Harden. Probably talent-wise, you had the talent, but your talent never materialized. James Harden right now is a top 75 player, and you have Allen Iverson begging for you to be in the conversation for the top 75. So there are levels to this thing. I think James Harden, obviously, better shooter, better passer, and I can go on and on. So Tracy McGrady needs to just calm himself down a little bit, but that's my little bit.
All right. Chris Lynch.
Yeah, just to answer Gunner's boss, Schroeder is not a clutch client. So please don't blame LeBron James and Rich Paul for Schroeder bad decision not to take up 85 or 84 million at the time, and then came back and take a $5 million 1 year offer. So Gunner's boss, that is it. But yeah, man, looking forward to this All-Star game. Obviously, we like to see the stars come out and play, but I'm looking forward to see this Chicago Bulls team. I like to see the young teams doing well, because obviously my player LeBron James is going to exit the league soon. So now I'm really looking for a player. I'm really looking for a player other than Anthony Davis, who I think is injury prone. I thought I had the player to replace LeBron, but I don't. So I'm over Cleveland. I'm at the Bulls. I'm at the Boston Celtics scouting. I like Jason Tatum. But let's see. I like to see those teams. And like I said, Pioneer, I'm looking forward to the playoff most definitely, because of the Grizzlies and that Dallas team in the West.
All right. Pagan 180 is picking Team Durant. Boy, Pagan 180, when I look at that Team LeBron roster, boy, look hard for beat. But I wouldn't mind seeing team, even though my player Steph Curry's on Team LeBron, but I wouldn't mind the youngsters could pull it off.
You just don't want LeBron.
I'm going to leave you with this gentleman, and this is how we're close. But I promise you, I'm going to pick up this the next time. This as a matter of fact, I'm going to throw it up in the ear right now. So, and then we'll close out. Could you see LeBron James is signed to the Los Angeles Lakers for one more season? All right. Over in Cleveland, things are looking very good with those young players. Darius Garland and the whole cast over there. Jared Allen. We see what's happening in Cleveland. Could we see LeBron James returning to Cleveland for one last rendezvous in his hometown? You don't have to answer now. We're going to leave it right there. Next time we have a podcast, we're going to discuss that. If things don't work out this season and next season for LeBron at the Lakers, could we see him returning to Cleveland? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, for Pioneer Sports, for I Am Sure Sports, my bad, for I Am Sure Sports, and for Around the NBA, I'm Pioneer, and we'll see you again soon. All right? Bless.